Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my sewing podcast. My name is Christie Archer of Christie Archer Designs, and this is a brand new podcast that I'm starting to share my sewing adventures. I have been sewing just about my entire life. I started really young. I did mostly fashion. I have been a fairly extensive children's fashion wear designer. I've done that for many years. Had two different businesses, Custom Kids Boutique, and then I also had Blavery, which is a combination of three of my three kids' names mixed together. And so I recently started a job for the first time in 20 years, and I am working at a quilt shop. And so I'm learning quilting now. That is something I've never done before. But anyway, this podcast is going to be a combination of clothing for children, clothing for myself, quilting. Sorry, my nose is itching. I just did a knitting podcast and I think I still have yarn on my nose. And I do bags. So I hope you are excited for the things that I have to share, because today I am sharing a culmination of projects that I've worked on since January. I apologize. Okay. I am going to start with my finished objects. Then I'm going to go into works in progress, and then I'm going to talk about my future projects. That is the same format I use with my knitting podcast, and I've been doing my knitting podcast for several years now. That seems to work, so I'm hoping it'll work over here as well. So we will get started with, one disclaimer. Because some of these projects are quite old, and at the time I wasn't planning on doing a sewing podcast, I didn't make notes of all of the fabric makers, the designers, manufacturers, and things like that. I will be making careful notes of that for future projects, but I am sorry if I don't have all of the information. If I show something and I don't share that information, please leave me a comment in the box below, or wherever the comment box is, and I will get that information for you. I can get it, I just don't have it in front of me right now. Okay, with that said, I'm going to start with a bag today. This is a pattern that I bought off of Etsy, and I'm going to get the pattern information for you right now. Sorry. Let's go to... Okay, so I discovered this bag designer off of Etsy, and she is fabulous. Okay, it's Gabrielle Shoulder Bag. The name of the shop is Miss Freckles Designs. And I'm gonna try to do this without too much of a glare. This is the bag. You will discover that the bags that I make are going to be on the small side because I like small bags. I don't like big bags. I don't use big bags. And it is so hard to find small bags out in the wild. This was a testing of this bag for me. There are changes I'm going to be making, but I do love the pattern. I basically followed the pattern to a T with the one exception, and I'll discuss that and why I made that change. I will not do it in the future, but I kind of had to on this one. So this is the end result, and I love it. It has a nice little bottom. I will be putting feet on the bottom of my next one. This is fabric that I got from Hobby Lobby. It's nothing fancy. I didn't put welting in it didn't call for welting, but I will use, well, no, I won't. We'll get into that in a minute. Okay, I bought this zipper from Hobby Lobby as well, and it was the only way I could get a white zipper with a pretty little pull tab on it was to buy one of the lace ones. So this is where my alteration came in this time. Next time I'm going to be using true by the yard bag zipper. I think it's number 5. Anyway, I did, because this was a lace zipper, I didn't want the lace to show, so I did cover the zipper with fabric on both sides. So that's the liner, and then that's the exterior. This zipper does not work good. I have to struggle to get it zipped and unzipped. So as cute as the bag turned out, I can't really use it because of that, but that's okay. Like I said, I was just doing this for the purpose of testing the pattern out for me and what changes I wanted to make. Okay, for this pattern, it calls for, if you're using just a basic cotton, you need if I'm not mistaken, it was a woven interfacing. If it wasn't a woven interfacing, that's what I used. And then a batting, I was trying to see, sorry. Okay, so it calls for your exterior fabric, your interior fabric, fusible woven interfacing, so SF 101, fusible non-woven interfacing, Deco Bond, which I do have, I did not use on this. I will be using it on my next one. I did use the Deco Bond. She only called for it on the bottom. That's what it was. I will be using the Deco Bond on all of my pieces. I know it's a pain to turn, but that is what I will be using because I like the final look a lot better. And then she recommended a fusible fleece, so a thermolam, and that is what I used. So I basically did everything that was called for, with the exception of I didn't use a number 5 zipper, and I did cover my zipper because of that. And then the interior is, let me move this handle out of the way. The interior is beautifully done, finished off and everything. Nice pocket. My next one, I will be doing a zipper pocket inside and a flap pocket or an open pocket. But yeah, cannot say anything bad about this pattern, but there are a few adjustments that I would make. The next one I'm going to do a D-ring. Actually, I'm going to do a rectangular ring. No, I'm not sure yet. Because I'm going to do a acrylic chain, really bulky chain, acrylic chain for my handle, and I will have it attached to either a D-ring or I guess it'll be a D-ring. And I'm going to do that. I don't care for this strap. I like the length of it and everything. It's perfect because I wear my, well, it's a little bit long. I'll go a little shorter, but I wear my pocketbooks on my arm occasionally, and it's perfect as a shoulder bag, but 90% of the time I've got it on my arm. So that is one of the projects that I worked on and finished in this time frame. Sorry, can't speak. Okay. Let me think of what I want to go into next. Okay, so some of the things, I'll kind of go in the order in which I worked on these things. No, I won't, because I worked on a lot of shirts, and I'll do that when I stand up. Okay, one of the things I'm working on is I'm working to make a pattern for a big wide leg, like a palazzo pant romper for myself. And my first go was literally out of scrap fabric that I had laying around. It's not finished. I was just doing it to make tweaks to the pattern. So this is, I guess I'll stand up and show this. So give me a second. Okay, and this is currently inside out. Let me turn it right side out. Okay, so this is going to be a basic pillowcase design for right now. I am going to make the neckline a little different, but for now I'm just doing, just to get the fit right, I'm just doing a little pillowcase style, which is really cute. I don't mind it. I feel like I constantly fiddle with this, so I want to fix it such that I'm not constantly fiddling with this. But it's just a huge wide leg romper. Hold it up. And like I said, this is the one that I had to go back and make adjustments. The stride is too long in this. I needed it a good bit shorter for me. I have a very short torso, longer legs. Not that I'm tall, but that's just the way my body fit is. So that was my first go. My second go, I just about got the fit right. This is fabric. This is fabric from Hobby Lobby. It's the yarn dyed fabric in that section. Obviously, I don't think it has a name or anything because it's just Hobby Lobby yarn. This is Hobby Lobby yarn as well. I'm saying yarn, guys. I'm sorry. I just did my my knitting podcast. That fabric does not have a name. This is fabric from Hobby Lobby as well. I am putting cute little pockets on the back of these. So I really like that. And this one is wearable. It's still not quite right. I had to make the legs a little bit smaller. But this one is wearable, especially just around the house. I could wear it out in public. It's really cute on. Right now, it doesn't show that well, but it really is cute on. And then I'm also doing inseam pockets. Gotta have my pockets, right? So that is that. And I'm going to attempt to get pictures of this before I post this podcast. And if so, I will pop pictures up here of me wearing these. Anything that's finished, I will try to get pictures of. Okay, my last one I'm still working on because I did want to make some changes to this one. I used really nice fabric. It's K-Facet. And so I really wanted this one to be just right in the neck area so that I'm not constantly pulling on it. But I did get the fit right on this one. The leg width and everything is better on this one. So, and I cannot remember the colorway or the name of this particular fabric, but again, side seam pockets and back pockets. And it's just going to be so much fun when I'm done with it. I'm really, really, really excited about the bright colors for summertime. So I haven't finished off the armholes because, again, I think I'm going to do the top of this one. Probably something similar to this, and I'll talk about this one in a second. So yeah, that's what I've got going on that. I'm looking forward to getting that one done. Hold please. All right, sorry about that. Had a sick pup, had to deal with. Okay, all right, so that is just a me-made project. The next couple of projects I'm going to talk about are patterns that I've used. I'm going to start with the Anna blouse by Wardrobe by Me, and you can find those patterns on Etsy. I will link in the description. Anything that I can link, I will link. Okay, so when I started the job at the quilt shop, I started December 1st, and we needed to, or not needed to, it was that we were wearing aprons, and the aprons were just not comfortable for me. And this was during our winter months. So the same amount of fabric that it took to make an apron, I could make the Anna shirt by Wardrobe by Me. So I decided to do that instead, and this is what I made. And I apologize ahead of time, these have not been ironed. Normally I press and iron everything to a T, but these have not been ironed yet. So I'm just going to quickly go over these. Let's see, the first one I made was this, and this is thatched fabric. Okay, don't know the designer, but it is, the name of the fabric is Thatched, and I cannot remember this colorway, but I do love this colorway. This is definitely a me color. Okay, so the pattern, I did this one to pattern, did not make any adjustments to it, and obviously when it comes to clothing, you have to make adjustments because everybody's body's different. Mine's definitely weird, especially right now. But okay, so this one I was just running through the pattern quickly, didn't make a lot of, or didn't make any changes. I did do the inside of the cuff in a yarn dyed plaid from Hobby Lobby, gingham, and I did it on the bias, so that's why it's angled like that. I did not, okay, the pattern fits beautifully. I was so impressed. Being a pattern designer myself, I was extremely impressed with the quality of this pattern. It is a 10 out of 10, absolutely. If you are looking for a basic button down to make, the Anna blouse by Wardrobe by Me is the pattern to buy, and the sizing is huge, huge range of sizing. Okay, it calls for interfacing in the collar. I did that. It calls for interfacing in the cuffs. I don't think I did that because after I did it in the collar, I realized I didn't really care for the interfacing. I know that I'm not an interfacing person, but I wanted to follow the pattern the first time through. In all of my others, I did not use interfacing. These are very casual for me, wear them with jeans, leggings, untucked. This is not a dressy thing for me. Alterations I made on the following patterns was, because I like to show, I did all of my cuffs a different fabric. I did lengthen the arms just slightly. They fit me perfectly like this, but I wanted to wear them like this, so I did increase them just a little bit in length. The pocket for me and my taste is way too small, so I made the pockets bigger on all of my others, and I did do 2 pockets because I needed that for work. Style-wise, 1 pocket is ideal, but with me, with my rotary and my glasses and all of that, 2 pockets works better for me. It is a little bit longer in the back. It does have a standard shirt hem. Things that I did, when I do a small hem, well, even when I do a large hem, I always run the edge first with my serger because it gives a perfect 1/4 inch hem. So then when I fold it up and press it, I know I've got a perfect 1/4 inch without having to stop and measure every little bit. So I just roll it and then roll it again, and it gives me a perfect shirt tail hem. That is how I do that. She does not do a separate shirt placket. It is an integrated shirt placket. That is different from the patterns that I have designed in the past. I don't have a problem with it. Obviously, I did it for all of them. I think for the ones in the future, though, I will do a separate shirt placket just because I do like that little bit of a flange when you're doing a separate shirt placket. But I was trying to make these in a hurry so that I had clothes to wear up at work. So that was the first one that I made. The rest I'm going to go through, not in any particular order. I'm just going to show you all the ones that I made. This one is made out of Moda Dwell. And then this was not part of the Dwell series, what I used for the collar stand. And for the inside of the cuffs. The rest of them I pretty much did the collar stand and the inside of the cuffs out of a coordinate. So anyway, Moda Dwell, and I did my pockets a lot bigger on this and did 2 pockets. So that's another one. This one's done out of poppy. And I did not realize this when I got the fabric, but it is, let's see. It has little roosters on it. I don't know if you can see the roosters, but I thought that was cute. So the stand is poppy as well, and don't remember the fabric names. I just know it was from the Spring Poppy collection, Spring 2023 Poppy collection. All right, this is the one that I have received the most compliments on. It does not matter where I am, I receive compliments on this shirt, and I think it's just because it's so bright and fun. This is, the main fabric is Ruby Star. And again, I don't know the fabric name itself, but it is the Ruby Star 2023. It's probably the winter 2023 collection. I could be wrong on that though. And then the collar stand and the cuffs are done out of Tilda. What collection is it? I can't remember that collection either, but it is a Tilda fabric. This is so beautiful with white jeans. Love, 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 love it. All right, this one, this is the only one that is made completely, collar, stand, and everything is out of the same fabric. I love this fabric. I do not remember who it's by. If you want information, just let me know and I can get it for you. But the colors in this are really, really pretty. It's a, is it an anon or is it a, I'm not sure. I think it's an anon flower in pink and black. All right. This is, again, I don't know the, oh, I did the same thing on this one. I must have done these at the same time. I couldn't find a coordinate that I was happy with either one of these, so I just did these all out of one fabric. And I do not remember, I guess I should be showing the backs of these. It does have an option to do this without the pleat, but I like the room that it gives doing it with the pleat. I will cut that out. Hopefully you did not have to listen to that. That was my dogs barking. All right, the next one I have is this one. And I love black and green together, so I have a green fabric to accent this black and white. Love it. And most of these, the buttons that I used, I just got real expensive buttons by a huge pack at Joann's. And I can't remember the name of the buttons, but it's in the button section, but it's a pack of, I don't even know, maybe 50 buttons, because I use 11 buttons per shirt. And so I was definitely, with all the shirts that I made, I was going through buttons. So I used that for most of them. All right, the last one I have to share is another Dwell fabric, and the color stand is Dwell fabric as well. Same collection. This one's my favorite. Well, this one and then the Ruby Star are my two favorites. Blue and green are my favorite colors, but that Ruby Star is just so much fun, and the bright colors. I don't normally wear bright colors, but it really does look cute. So that is it on the Anna blouse. The next pattern I'm going to talk about is by Mocha, and it is the Bianca blouse. I started making it, got hot really quick here, so I needed to make some more summery type shirts, and I will show this one first. This one hasn't been worn yet, so, oops, it isn't even buttoned. I used, what buttons did I use on this? I can't remember the name of these buttons. I got them off of Amazon, so I'll put that in the description below. But this is by Mocha. And it is a really sweet blouse. I love the gathers in the back. They are just so sweet. So that was Mocha. That was actually, I think, Mocha number 3. My first one. Okay, so I did make alterations to this. This was the first one that I made, and the sleeves are huge for my little arms. So I did raise the cap up a good bit, which makes the arm, if you do any fashion sewing, you know, when you make your cap higher, it makes your sleeve more narrow. So on these, you can see that my sleeve, I was going to see if I could put them up next to each other. Okay. So you can see there's a huge difference in the sleeves. The cap on this one goes up higher and it's a lot more narrow. So a much better fit on the second two. But there's the back of that. We had a pink day up at work, and so I had to quickly make this one the night before, and so I just went strictly by the pattern. And then, oh, and these are all Tilda Chambray. Trying to think of the colors. I think this one may be called Pistachio. I can't remember the colors. I'm not going to try to tell you, but this is all Tilda fabric, Tilda Chambray. All 3 of these. And then this is the yellow one. And they are just, this looks so good with distressed jeans, ripped up jeans. The yellow just looks so good with it. Okay, last thing I have to talk about is what I'm wearing, and then I've made a couple more and have more to make. This is just a cute little basic tank top. I did buy a pattern, not that I needed one for this, not that I need one for any of them, but I do like supporting indie designers. This was by Mocha as well, or was it Latte? Same company. Latte and Mocha are the same company, but 2 different pattern lines. Let's see if I can do this without a glare. There's Mocha. There's the Wardrobe by Me Anna shirt. And I showed the shoulder bag. Let's see. Okay, so this one is the latte, and it doesn't have a cover picture. It was a 99-cent pattern, and I had to make a lot of adjustments to it. So in the end, it's not really the latte, but if you wanted something similar, you could go buy the latte. I will link it below. And like I said, it was 99 cents. I will explain the alterations. I went in on my pattern, the program that I use to make my patterns, and made all of the adjustments that I needed. But hold please. Okay, so this is the pattern that I ended up with, and I love it. The first one I made, oh please. Okay, anytime I buy a pattern or I'm trying out a pattern or whatever, I just use the cheapest fabric I can find or whatever I have on hand. This was what I used per pattern. I made no changes to this at all. Okay, first of all, it comes with these tie straps. I didn't care for that. I understand why they did that in the pattern, because explaining how to put these kind of straps in on a completely lined piece, it can be hard to explain through paper instructions. You can show it a lot easier than you can explain it. So I get why they did that. But it is just it goes straight down. There's no shaping. And for me, I needed shaping. So mine has a little bit of wiggle room here, but this one is like way big here. And it just made it stick out funny here. When my arms were down, it would poke out and everything. So anyway, I didn't use the instructions. I very seldom ever do use the instructions when I purchase from somebody. I'll just use the pattern pieces. I know how things go together. So I can't say whether the instructions are good on any of the patterns that I've been talking about, because like I said, I don't really use the instructions. So I can only tell you as far as fit is concerned. So this was my first run of it and didn't like it. So I had to make changes. So I changed the straps. I changed the fit up here, and I changed the skirt. The skirt is a lot fuller than what they had in the pattern, I believe. I'm pretty sure. And I think they had shaping to the skirt. For me, I just did straight around panels. So I cut the fabric width, cut off the selvage, seamed 2 panels together, and went from there. And I love the end result. For me, I'm sway backed, which means things are almost always longer in the back for me, just because of it. And I love that effect. So I think it has turned out really, really, really cute. Very pleased with it. This is fabric I got from the shop. Most everything is something I've bought from the shop, but I don't remember what it is. If you want to know, let me know. Okay, the other 2 that I have already made up, I'll talk about this one first. This is Tilda Chambray once again, and I made the adjustments and everything to this one so it fits perfectly. Absolutely adore this style for summer here for me in the desert. The back is straight across. The front has a little bit of a scoop. And yeah. And like I said, once I put it on, because of my sway back, it goes longer in the back. If you don't have a sway back, I don't know if it would be longer in the back, but you could always cut it to where it's longer in the back. And my next one, I'm super, super, super excited about. I haven't gotten to wear it yet. I just made this yesterday. This is out of a new company called Fableland? Oh my goodness. I can't remember. I think it's called Fableland. I'll put it in the description, and I may put a little wording up here of it. This is the color Moon Glow or Moon Garden. It is gorgeous. This is a chambray, but it is cotton bamboo. The drape on this is outstanding. The softness factor is unbelievable. It feels like you're wearing a t-shirt, but it's woven fabric. It is amazing. I bought enough to do 6 shirts, and I may be going back and buying some of the other colors too. But this is going to go with my completely and totally destroyed denim jeans, and it is going to be stunning. I love, 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 love this. Okay, I will talk more about this top when I get to upcoming projects. I do want to finish talking about whips, and my last whip to talk about, I'm saying whips, I'm sorry, FOs, finished objects. Let me grab something real quick. Okay, so I'm working with the shop owner where I'm now working on, okay, so my history is, as far as sewing is concerned, is basically children's wear. And I had built a business called Custom Kids Boutique, and I sold that business, and then I started another business called Blavery, and I sold that business as well, but I did not sell the name because of it being my 3 kids' names together. It was very personal, so I sold all of the patterns that I had made, but I didn't sell the name. Long story short, I am now designing again, and my first pattern for the shop is called Millie, named after the shop owner's sister, Mildred Louise. And I'm so thrilled with this. I'm still working on packaging, but this is what I have thus far. Up here is either going to be a grommet or a bow. I'm not sure yet. We're still working out, I'm still working out the packaging. But this is Millie, and it is a Christie Archer's design, and it is exclusively only sold at Quilters Fair. So if you want this pattern, we should have it available for purchase within the next week or 2. This is the back, and let me read you about this pattern real quick. So Millie, named after Mildred Louise, is a classically designed pattern that you will make over and over again. It has been designed with you and your little one in mind. It's quick and easy to make. It has a simple style that will stand the test of time. It's reversible to encourage independence when dressing alone, and the loose fit will grow with her because it can still be worn as a tunic after growth spurts. Millie is fun to style in any season. Worn alone, your little one will be nice and cool during hot temps. Fashion it with a shirt and leggings or jeans when there's a chill in the air. The features are it's quick and easy. It has a classic style. It's reversible, and it will grow with her. The skills used: basic sewing machine skills, gathering, seam finishing with either a serger or zigzag, and you need to be able to clip curves and corners. Doesn't take a lot of fabric, and it is just going to be so much fun. I am going to be doing a video tutorial on this for anybody that is new to sewing children's clothing, but this one is so easy. So you have the get ready page, and then you have the instructions page, And like I said, the patterns will be printed professionally, and so I don't have those in here yet. But I'm really, really, really excited about Millie. And I have tested all the sizes. Everything has come out to perfection. It is a super, super, super easy dress to make. So I'm going to show you the samples real quick. This is the smallest size, which can be made for about 12 months. And up here, I have the size 2, which is approximately a 2T. And then this is the next one, which is approximately a 3T. This is approximately a, oh, you know what? Nope, this is the 5. I don't have the 3 right now. So this was the 4. And this was the 5. We will have kits in the shop for you if you want to make these exact fabric combos. We will have these in the shop for purchase. So once I get that information, I will link it below. So that was the 5. And the reason I say these are reversible is they can be worn either way. There is no front, there is no back. It's not reversible inside out, but when children go to dress themselves, they don't have to worry about putting it on backwards. So I specifically designed it with independent dressers in mind. Okay, this is the size 6. And these basically coordinate with age, but these are customizable, and I'll explain that in just a minute. And then the last one is the size 7. And again, reversible. Okay. Sorry I didn't go into all of the fabrics on those. Again, we'll have kits for those available if you want those. So basically, when you choose your sizing on the back, you can choose, so you have fits chest size, and then it has the finished chest size measurement. And the fits chest, so if your child is on the more narrow side, you can, but is taller, you can choose for a 19, but if you want a longer size, you can do the finished length. You can choose your finished length, and that's the skirt you will cut. So you will still cut the bodice for whatever size up here, and then you will choose your skirt by the finished length size. So you can mix and match these to get a custom fit for your child. It takes very little fabric. If you're not sure on size, all of them take the same amount of fabric for the bodice, and then it goes anywhere from 1 yard to 1.5 yards for the skirt. So if you're not sure on the skirt length or the dress length, just go ahead and get 1.5 yards, and all of the kits will include 1.5 yards. And then from there, you can customize your skirt length. So this is truly customizable. I don't like saying that this is specifically this size or whatever. It is basically, the size 1 is approximately a 12-month, so on and so forth, but you can customize it to your child's size. Hold, please. Okay, that is it for Millie. The next pattern coming up, hold on. is this dress, and it is still in the designing stages, so there are some changes to be made with it. But again, this is going to be completely reversible. I really like to encourage independent dressing, and it can go with any season. So if you wanted to pop a little t-shirt under it and jeans, or worn alone, it can be a great spring and summer dress. We have a name for that one, but I can't remember at this point, so I'll discuss that one in the next podcast. I do have another dress coming, but it is way still in the design process. I'll show it real quick, but it is going to have some fairly major changes to it. This one does have a front and back, and it is elastic in the back. So it definitely will grow. I don't like the straps on this one, so that's going to change. I do like the band at the bottom, but for those that don't have a serger, I don't know, I haven't decided. This one is still majorly in the works, but it is a beautiful dress. So that is one that will be coming as well. Okay, I think that's it for FOs. Give me a minute and I'm going to get everything ready to discuss whips and future projects. So give me just a moment. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. 3 o'clock hit, or it was 3 o'clock, and I realized I have not eaten all day. I was getting really hungry, so took that time to get my other stuff together and grab a quick bite. Okay, there was one other thing that I did finish during the month of January, February, March. I believe I did this in March. I did my very first quilt project, and I don't have it because it's getting ready to be quilted. So I will show that when it gets back from the quilter, but I did want to show the fabric that I used. Again, this is the Dwell, Moda Dwell line, and I kind of love these colors, so that's why you keep seeing it over and over again. But I used the cute little dot. I like that this dot is kind of, instead of having it alternating, everything lines up. That's kind of fun, something different. And then the same floral you saw out of one of my shirts, and the same floral you saw out of the other shirt. And this was what I had used on the collar stand and cuffs with this one. And let's see, one that oh wait, let me show you this one. This one, I've got to do something out of this. I may do one of these tops out of this because it's just so cute. Or I may use this one. This one I didn't really think I liked as much as the others until I started using it, and I was like, oh, I really, really like this one. So I don't know, maybe this one will become another shirt. I love it. I think that's gonna become a shirt. So those are the fabrics that I used. I wanted to see if I used another one. Nope, that's it. And it is, I was testing a pattern for the shop owner, and it's a little table topper. I'm going to use it as a blanket because that's how I would use it most, and I would use it a lot as a little throw blanket for over my legs. When I'm knitting, I like to, especially in the summertime, it's freezing where I knit. The air's blowing directly on me, so I think that'll make a cute little throw blanket for my legs while I'm knitting. So that was one other finished object, but I don't have it to show this time. Okay, projects that I am currently working on. Go over this first. Sorry, I'm trying to gather my thoughts. Okay, so Fabulism, that's what it was. I was saying it wrong before. I knew I was saying it wrong. Fabulism is the chambray fabric, the creamy color that I made this style design out of. Okay, so I got 5 other colors, and I think this one was saguaro, the green, rosa, twiggy, obsidian, and then I think, what was this one called? I took the tag off of it already. These have been washed already. They're ready for me to sew. But I was telling the shop owner about this fabric, and I think we're gonna start carrying it at the shop because she and I are both in love with it. So I didn't wash this one. I wanted her to fill it straight off the bolt. This one I think was called Sunshine or something related to the sun. It's the only yellow that they have. This is the Everyday Chambray. Now they have a nocturnal collection, which is the new collection of the chambrays, new color collection of the chambrays, and they're a lot darker and moodier, so they'll be great for fall and winter. But for spring and summer, I do love these colors. I would love to see them come out with a true summer palette, which is, you know, really bright, fun colors. But this is something that I can wear every day, hence the name, I guess. And the bamboo cotton mix is just divine, I'm telling you. I was gonna try to open one of these up, see if you can tell how drapey. I mean, it is, and that's double fold. It feels like wearing a t-shirt. I am obsessed with this fabric. And the person that I purchased from is Everyday Fabrics. Was that the name of her shop, or is that the name of, because I know the chambray is called Everyday Chambray. I'll link her in the description below. That may have been the name of her shop too. That's crazy. And she was in, or she is in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I got it here super fast because I'm close to Nevada, so yay. All right, so those are coming. Or I'm sorry, those are projects that I'm working on. Okay, another project that I'm working on, this is just El Cheapo fabric from Hobby Lobby. Not that Hobby Lobby's fabric is cheap, bad quality, it's just not as expensive as like what we sell at the shop. But for this purpose, it is literally going on the floor. It is for my fur baby, my princess. We have 2. One is a princess and the other one is my buddy. But she likes to lay on the floor. I think she gets hot really easy and the floor is cool. If there's a sheet or a blanket or something laid thinly on the floor, she loves to lay on that too. So I thought I would make her a little quilt. And I'm doing half square triangles. And I don't want to mess them up too much because I do have them in a specific order, but this is the color palette that I'm going with. So I have the pink and it's a blush and a gold, and then blue and green. So those are the colors that I'm going with. And well, I was going to try to go through all of the fabrics so you could see all of them. That sweet little, it's just gonna be so cute. Haven't completely decided on the size, the finished size yet. I have to cut my squares down. Right now, I think they are 4 inches, and I may cut them down to 3 inches or 3.5 inches. Or maybe they're, I don't remember. It's been a bit since I've worked on this, but aren't these fabrics just beautiful together? green and the gold together. But she likes to lay right here next to the sofa, so I thought I would just make a little square. I'm figuring something like 24 to 36 inches, something along those lines. And I'm just randomly placing the half square triangles. I randomly made the half square triangles together, the pairing is the word I'm looking for. So I paired them together in different ways. So I think that shows all of the fabrics that I'm currently working on, or working on with it. So for the back, let's see, I can't remember which way I did this. Let's see, it's been a minute. Oh, threads, where is this one? Okay, so I got this for the back of it, and I got this for the binding. So I think that'll be really, really cute together. I'm excited. As a matter of fact, looking through it again, I may work on this today, because it is just so adorable. And my little princess deserves it. I just thought it would be a good second project for, sorry, I was getting a message. I just thought that would be a fun second project. I don't want anything too crazy. I just want to keep it easy. Now, my next project coming up is going to be a little more involved. This is, I got a layer cake. Okay, the shop that I bought this from is amazing customer service. Okay, so I bought a charm pack, and it was the last charm pack that they had, and she contacted me and said they could not find the charm pack anywhere. They did not know where it ended up. She wanted to know if it was okay to send me a layer cake instead of a charm pack. I was like, yeah. So initially, my design plan had a lot of white in it, and I am going to go back and do that because I love the quilts that have the white sashing and borders and in-betweens, and just all of that. Lots of whites with prints that have a lot of white in them. I love that look. It's just so crisp and airy looking. But because of getting the layer cake with this one's not going to have any white sashing or anything. So this is what I got. Sorry for all the crinkling. Okay. So when I bought this initially, it was going to be a smaller size, and so the background fabric, I went ahead and bought the backing, the backing and the binding, because I wanted to make sure everything went together. I was buying a collection. I wasn't mismatching and all of that. So I have always been obsessed with Three Sisters Promenade. Three Sisters Promenade, Three Sisters, however you want to say it, and Fig Tree. Those are two designers that I just adore. Well, I found this Three Sisters, the collection is Promenade. I'm going to get this out in a minute. But, at how gorgeous this fabric is. I'm going to try to slowly flip through. I know I'm not doing this justice, but you probably, if you're into quilting, you've probably seen this. It's just gorgeous colors. I love the soft, powdery look. You'll see that a lot. And I do like brights too. I like a little bit of everything. But for my first quilt, this is what I'm using. Okay, this is what I bought for the backing. And this was, like I said, when I bought it, I bought the charm squares because I was going to make a smaller like lap blanket, something like 56 by 56 or something. And so I bought this for the backing and I bought this for the binding. But now this isn't going to be enough for the backing or binding. So I've got to look at that. I've got to decide exactly what I am doing so that I can figure out how much more fabric I'm going to need. But at the same time, when one day I was at work and this fabric just kept jumping out to me, jumping out to me, jumping out to me. And it was getting small on the bolt. So I bought everything there was left on the bolt, which wasn't much. But it kind of matches the promenade. So I may do something with these two for the back. I may have to do some piecing or something and use this for the backing. Or I may just go with a solid white and maybe use this for sashing. I'm not quite sure yet how all of this is going to play out, but this is a project that I'm taking my time kind of organizing. As a matter of fact, I'll show you what I have been doing. This is crazy. This is how my mind works. Oh, and okay, so Blooming Blocks Quilt Fabric is the name of the shop. Let me take this out so it doesn't have a glare on it. So it's bloomingblocks.com. Trying to get no glare. And an absolute precious person. You could not want to meet, you would not meet anybody nicer. And sent a seam ripper, which I need. I'm always needing more seam rippers. I like to keep them nice and sharp, so I don't use them very long. Okay. This is how I get. Like I said, I'm a little so I am planning out my quilt. So I went through on the web and I had to go to several different places to get it all and got screenshots of all of the fabrics. Sorry, this is taking a minute. So I got screenshots of all the fabrics and I designed my quilt in Illustrator, and then I was going in and randomly placing each fabric. Let me just show you. Hopefully this won't have a bad glare. Let's see. So I am designing my quilt so I know where every piece goes before I put it together, so that I don't end up with, you know, the same two fabrics touching each other or whatever. I truly wanted it to be random, but thought out random. I'm weird like that. So this is what I'm in the process of working on, and it is time consuming, but won't that be gorgeous? I love, 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 love these fabrics. I'm so excited about it. So that I'm still in the planning stages at this point of that project, but as soon as that one is done, I'm going to be cutting and putting it together. I'm really excited about that. Okay, we have at the shop an upcoming event, and for that event, it's a camping theme. And I was trying to think when it is. I can't remember right now. Oh, it is the July run. Okay, so we have a quilt run in July. That's what this is for. Yeah. Gosh, I had to stop and think because we have several runs per year. Okay, so the Millie dress, this one right here, all of the ones that I showed, I'm going to be making up in this camping themed fabric. It's part of our camping line that we are promoting for the run. And it is by Gracie Larson, and it is a Riley Blake fabric called Love You S'more. So this will be the bodice, the top part, and then this will be the skirt, and it's gonna be so cute. So cute. So that is an upcoming project I will be doing. I'll probably have it done this week. It only takes about an hour to make this dress for me. They always laugh at me up at work because clothing I sew really fast, and they're like, yeah, for you. So that is Millie coming up. And I was at Hobby Lobby one day, and this was when I was kind of looking at fabric for my fur baby to make her little quilt, and I found these and I love them, but I love them so much I didn't want to put them on the floor. So I've decided I'm going to do something for me out of these, but I just love these colors. This was a fat quarter bundle. Glasses by Brother Sister Design Studio. It was only $12, but it has this gorgeous peachy color, then this beautiful orangey color, two different green colors. That one's more of a sage green, that one's a little lighter, and then this mid-tone orange. I think I'm gonna have to get another pack because I'm not sure how far a fat quarter will go. Me, being new to quilting, I don't know if this is enough to make a lap blanket. I guess if I did a lot of the white, though this isn't really the look I was thinking of for the white, but I think a cute little pinwheel, just something really basic. I am not one to get too complicated with most of my projects because I want them to be fun and meditative and stress-free. So I'll probably always stick to things that are real simple and just make me happy. So I'm thinking maybe a pinwheel with this would be cute, and I could do that with lots of white. That could be a lot of fun. What I will back this in, no clue, because the fabric is not sold by the yard. I wish it were, because I'd probably be making some of these out of these colors, but it feels like good quality fabric, and yeah, I think that's gonna be pretty. The next pattern that I'm going to be making, I am definitely going to be doing a sample out of this. I don't have the coordinate for this right now. I wasn't quite sure when I got this fabric from the shop what I was going to be doing with it, but I've decided I am going to do my next pattern, and this is just adorable. It is, I'm sure it's Riley Blake. Oh no, it is not a Riley Blake. Blank Quilting. It's called Forest Critters, and I was trying to see the designer name is Laura. I've never heard of any of these, so let me put on my glasses so I can see. So it is Laura, whatever that is, for Blank Quilting, and the fabric line is called Forest Critters, and blankquilting.net. I've never heard of these, but we have the full collection. And the top part that I'm going to be doing, this one's going to be more of a fall themed. The top part is has a black background, and it has cute little mushrooms that go with this. So I thought that would be cute for the top portion of this. And this can be the skirt. So that will be coming up. I know that was probably a lot for my very first episode, and I do apologize, but I had a lot to talk about, and with my knitting podcasts, I was doing them the last Sunday of every month. However, I think I'm going to start like alternating, doing like my knitting podcast one month, then the following month I'll do a sewing podcast, and then I'm also going to be doing a cross stitch podcast. I'm trying to separate my crafts, and that way I can talk to my friends that are more specific to each category. I think it'll be more enjoyable that way for the viewer, and I think it's a little easier on me as far as podcasting, filming, and my brain and everything. So if I ever get my words confused with yarn, fabric, or threads, floss, whatever, that's why. But I think that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this visit. I don't think my future ones will be this intense, because I don't think I'll be doing, I don't know, we'll see. But hopefully they will not be this long. But I hope that you did enjoy this one, even though it was long. That's it for today, and if you enjoyed this, please hit the like button. It's really going to help these videos reach more people that watch these kind of videos. And if you will hit subscribe and click the bell icon, that way you'll get notified, since my schedule isn't going to be a set schedule. That way you'll know when I have a video up, and you can pop on it and spend some time with me. I have enjoyed spending this time with you, and I hope you have projects that are bringing you a lot of joy. Tell me in the comments below what you are working on that's bringing you the most joy. Do you prefer sewing clothing? Do you prefer quilting? Do you prefer bag making? Are you like me? Do you enjoy it all? If you haven't done one or the other, let me know, and let me know if it's something you would be ever be interested in. I would like to get to know you and know a little more about you and what you enjoy and what you don't enjoy. So I guess that's it for today. I will see you again next time, and remember to hit the bell so that you will know when I post again.